Hello, welcome to my Pokemon Journeys, episode 133, Project Mew review. So we finally got to what I've been looking forward to most, Project Mew. Of course, we know Go had urgent summon, so he had to leave Ash. And we find out that's because the season where they could do the exploration came unexpectedly early. We also know that this episode would take place on Faraway Island, which is like an actual dream come true for me. That's a place I hold very near and dear to me since I'm a Holland baby, and I remember looking up YouTube videos of Mew event when I was like so much younger. Because of all the events in Emerald I couldn't do, that's the one that felt most unreachable to me until recently, so I'm incredibly excited to have it explored in the anime. Hidaka tells us that he set up Project Mew because of the psychic energy readings they picked up about a year before the series, and of course the chaser's role will be to make landfall in the scale Table Mountain, as according to Asahi the winds are too strong to approach by air, when they hit turbulence, and then they make a safe landing. Hidaka sends the chasers off, and kind of immediately we get to see all sorts of Pokemon that live on Faraway Island. We get really cool callbacks to Mewtwo episode as Go is asked to bring his psychic energy sensor out that he created to find Mew, and he references the fact that it is compared to Mewtwo's psychic waveforms. I do kind of wish we got to see the initial reaction Project Mew had to the fact that Mewtwo even exists, I think they weren't super surprised about it. A little more shock would have been appreciated there, especially in Gary's case since Mewtwo kind of bodied him all the way back. But kind of like the island there's just like all these like sorts of Pokemon. It feels like a really untouched land by humans, it's really cool. We also get a bit more information on the older chasers, as Go mentions that Asahi is a specialist in biology and geology, and Gary mentions that Tsurugi is an expert in mountains and the ecosystem of Pokemon that live in tough conditions. It's just an extra layer to the chasers that I kind of wish we got a lot sooner, since I really like how they've got more studious sides to them. Frankly, I'm a huge fan of this whole section in general, since even Tokyo gets a nice little moment where he asks if Pokemon are waiting for a perfect trainer to catch them, much like how we get Pokemon we want to catch. After Go says he wants to catch Mew. It's a really nice little outlook that I never really thought about, you know? Anyway, as they cross the river, Go gets attacked by a Swampert, which Tokyo responds by sending out a damn Virizion, which actually caught me completely off guard. And he kind of gets brushed aside as he said he caught it on his last mission, which makes sense to me. It doesn't make me wonder exactly why they made him go after that. I guess if his mission was based off Sonya's side quest in the Crown Tundra, it could do with tracking skills maybe. And hey, now all 5 chasers have at least one legendary Pokemon, which is kind of hilarious. Makes sense though, since they're tracking down a mythical Pokemon. So if they can't catch a legendary, then they might not be too helpful for the team. They arrive at the base of Table Mountain where all their electronics short out. They can't keep in contact with Hidaka. Go can't use his tracker, and most importantly, they can't sound any of their Pokemon, so they have to rely on what they have out. Weavile, Azumarill, and Grookey. This is something I love in particular, as I've wanted to see Weavile and Azumarill in action as Tsurugi and Asahi send their Urshifu to fight instead. But now they can't. And as Asahi asks if they should go back, Tsurugi says it's the only chance they have to encounter Mew, if it's Mew they're following. So we get this cool sequence where they start to scale the mountain, and man, does Weavile climbing give anyone else Sneasler vibes? That felt really fitting. So Tsurugi goes ahead with everyone following, and it's kind of wild how Go calls himself pathetic, that he relies on his Pokemon too much. Like, come on now, you're climbing the world's largest mountain, it's not a problem you're finding it tough, mate. But it's then that a Skarmory attack and it cuts the ropes, leaving all the chasers on one side of the mountain without anything securing them, which is like my worst actual nightmare. Asahi has no idea what to do as Go asks, since they're in a very dangerous position now. Some that Grookey points them to a side path from the mountain, so Shigo and Tokyo head off to the side as Tsurugi and Gary scale to a peak as they have been, with Weavile providing support for Gary. As the side path is blocked by a waterfall, Azumarill picks up on a cave behind it as it picks up on noise with its ears, so like how all Pokemon pull their weight in their climb, making sure the group can move forward. Gary and Tsurugi reach the top. I also like Tsurugi's cool guy attitude as he tells the exhausted Gary that this is just their starting point. They find an unnaturally large round hole, and surmise it was likely made by Mew. So head inside the cavern and find a completely untouched space with many alive fossil Pokemon. Gary finds it interesting that Pokemon here could have a unique biology, but Tsurugi reminds them they have to find Mew first. Meanwhile, with Asahi's group, she prepares them for any danger and they find some berries with a unique hair on it, likely belonging to Mew. The two boys talk about it and how Mew could be around, and Tokyo talks about how evil feelings make Mew not show up. Ghost says it's cool because they don't have any evil feelings. Asahi then mentions that there are some stories of Mew sightings where, while some said Mew seemed good, others called it a demon, with a trainer who chased after Mew being attacked. I know this is like a pipe dream, but if it's a reference to Jessie's mother, then that'd be sick, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Miyamoto on Bulbapedia. Also, Mew flies behind the 3 chasers, so I guess they're not evil. As Gary and Tsurugi look around, they get attacked by an Aerodactyl and Kabutops. Weavile beats them up with a Night Slash and a Dark Pulse, while Asahi's group is attacked by a Solrock and Lunatone, as they shatter Azumarill's light screen. Go cowers, which prompts Grookey to fight back. However, it can't do anything as it doesn't have a ranged move. Azumarill covers them with a Hydro Pump, allowing them to run, but Grookey does seem quite sad about it. Tsurugi and Gary walk on as the ground starts shaking underneath them. The dust clears and ends up being a bloody Groudon! Asahi, Go, and Tokyo arrive at a lake and have no choice but to go by, and that's when they encounter Kyogre, and our episode ends. Okay, wow, what a great start to Project Mew! I'll get why I don't like Faraway first, as I felt there could have been more of an adventure leading up to Table Mountain. I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to be the last episode of Project Mu, so if it made more time, maybe we could have had more of an experience along Faraway Island. And the fact they bring up the Mewtwo episode made me think back to the journey that Ash and Go had on that island, and was kind of what I wanted to see here. We just sort of get a little bit of walking, Virizion fighting Swampert, and then they're at the mountain, no problem. But hey, that's all fine, because they ended up scaling the mountain, and that ends up being quite exciting in itself. And, you know, I really love seeing all the chasers interacting as a cohesive unit now. They've all got the same goal and their own specialities, and maybe Tokyo and Gary don't really have the time to shine here. But, you know, we've got next episode, so I'm not too worried about that. Finding out more about Tsurugi and Asahi was long overdue anyway. They both put into play as well, with Tsurugi being able to effortlessly scale a huge mountain, and Asahi being able to identify a hair from a berry, hinting that yes, Mew is there. I really love that as the chasers were at the base, they talk about how geologically important Table Mountain is. It hasn't changed for hundreds of millions of years, and that may have been the centre of the world since time begun. I just get utter chills at that, and the fact it's near Hoenn, I'll take that. And that's not all, as they talk about a more mystical side too, with ancient fishermen having a unique name for it, to reference the mountain's evil spirits that eat humans. I just love hearing folklore, and making Table Mountain seem kind of terrifying like that before all of their electronics cut out is good stuff. I can't really play any examples, but I also felt music did a fantastic job at uplifting the mysterious tones and amplifying the vibes they wanted to give this expedition. And they do smart bits like letting no music players Tsurugi and Gary reach the top, just the sound of a wind. It's really impactful. And as I mentioned before, every Pokemon pulls their weight so far on the expedition. But it feels like they're setting something up for Grookey, as he's not able to defend Go when Go needs it. I mean, no, it does something silly in the previews, I'm not getting into that, but I'm hoping it'll deliver. So really, I think I just wish Go's Heart here had a bit more time to breathe. I'm not really expecting something huge like the Masters 8, especially with the stress that put the staff under. But if we had like 3-4 episodes, like Ash's battles versus like Leon or Cynthia, that'd be pretty good. I'm still really eager to see how this wraps up, as I really love this episode. Frankly, my only complaint being I wish we had more isn't really a bad complaint, is it? I can't leave it at that, right? There's something else we need to talk about. Team Rocket have gone to the Paldea region under the order of Giovanni to catch new Pokemon, where they encounter a Sprigatito. It's not really a huge thing, and there's some fun jokes like James saying it likes to sulk if other Pokemon get their attention, and then Jesse's quick to like point out that's like Meowth for Giovanni's Persian. Sprigatito needs the grass, which almost puts them to sleep, and it's Meowth making a lot of noise to keep them up that scares Sprigatito away. So this might be the weirdest introduction to a starter Pokemon and a new region we've ever had, but I actually kind of love it since we've had Team Rocket be ones to encounter them. I was expecting to see Team Rocket anytime soon, and we're apparently going to get this for the next 2 weeks of the other two starters, so that's pretty cool.